Hey babes, my name's Hannah.
And my name's Chasity.
Welcome back to Bookish Babes. Today we have for you our March reading wrap up. I can't believe it's already April.
I know. The other thing I can't believe is how many books you read this month.
I did casually read 16 books.
16. She read 16, guys.
Yeah.
I read 7.
That's probably the best reading month I've ever had, like ever in my life. And we are, what, now 7 days into April, and I've only finished one book, so it's definitely not going to continue. But it was nice while it lasted.
I mean, yeah.
I was on a big romance kick, especially a big, like, indie romance kick.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
I had some hits, I had some misses.
Listen, I don't know what to tell you about the kind of kick I was on. I wasn't really on any kind of kick.
Yeah. But now in April, I'm back on my fantasy bullshit, so I'll definitely read a lot slower.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You definitely need to start with, like, I don't know, 3?
Yeah. Okay. So I'll group these two together since it's a series. The first book I finished was It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. This one blew up. This is a huge one.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it. I have some complaints, as I usually do. This is probably a 3.5 star read for me. This had the potential to be like a 4 star. I was really feeling it for a while, but I just had some issues with how I think we were supposed to perceive the main character versus how I perceived her. Her name is Piper, and basically she gets herself into some trouble. Piper was raised in a really wealthy family, and she's a social media like influencer. Basically, that's like her job, but she still lives at home with her parents, and she ends up breaking the law and going to jail, and it reflects really badly on her parents, namely her stepdad, who is like a film producer or director or something, and he actually ends up almost losing a project because of it. And so they send her to this town that her biological father lived in before he died to run his old bar, to like teach her a lesson basically, and like teach her how to live in the real world. I feel like we were supposed to dislike Piper and think that she was entitled and bratty and conceited, and you know what I mean? But like all I could think was she's only the way that her parents raised her to be, and then they just dropped her off in the middle of nowhere where people were really rude to her before they even met her. And then the second they did meet her, they were like, oh, you're nicer than I thought. But like, you guys were horrible to her when she first showed up because of what she looked like and what she acted like. And even though she was perfectly nice to everybody, but she just, you know, showed up wearing expensive clothes to this little small town, and they just judged her for that. And they were rude. And she showed up to this bar like, oh my God, why does this bar look like this? Because it's literally like a bar that they're not even supposed to be serving alcohol at. Like, it's like a hole in the wall. So like most normal people would be like, what the fuck? Like, I showed up to work here. And then she goes up to the apartment above the bar, and there's literally like bugs and mice, and she's grossed out by it, and they think it's funny. Like, that's a health hazard.
That's not funny.
Yeah. And then she doesn't even know how to like cook. She was never taught this. And then her parents are mad that she's exactly the way they raised her to be. They raised her, you know, with money, and she never had to work. They never told her to work. They never made her work. So of course she doesn't know how to. Like,
no, poor baby child.
Yeah, so that's all I could think of, and maybe I'm reading way too much into this damn Tessa Bailey book. Like, maybe I'm just supposed to take it at face value, and that's my fault, but I think that's my biggest complaint. But otherwise, I really actually liked it. I liked Piper. I loved the little small town in Washington that it was based in. It's very like rainy and dreary, and they're all sailors. That's the other thing though, is that he's like a sailor, and every time I would read his dialogue, I read it in like a pirate accent.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Like, I couldn't not read it in a pirate accent, and so like I got like through half of it where I was just reading it in a pirate accent. But otherwise, like, it was decent. I liked it enough to read the second one. So then I read Hook, Line, and Sinker. I liked this one less, which is surprising because I really liked the guy in what's his name? Fox. I really liked Fox in the first book, so I thought that I would really love the second book, and I related to the female character because her name is Hannah, and she's also like, you know what I mean? Like, she's really into music, and I really thought that I was going to vibe with her, and I just ended up not vibing with them, which is upsetting. So I give this one 3 stars. It was still decent, but I liked it less for sure.
City spaghetti.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'll do one because my first one was Love Her or Lose Her by Tessa Bailey.
Yep.
Interesting. different
we
series.
had a Tessa Bailey moment.
Yeah, apparently. I absolutely loved this one. This was in the Hot and Hammered series, I believe that's what it's called. I really liked the first one, Fixer Up, but I loved this one. This was like a second chance romance.
I love the second chance romance.
And I really adored this. It was also like a sunshine grumpy one. Like I loved this one so much. I loved it. You know what? I especially liked it because it was like these two were looked at. They're married and they split. And then they go to therapy. They go to couples counseling, and because he really wants to try to make his marriage work.
Yeah.
And I just really loved it because everyone always looked at them like they had everything. Like they had the perfect marriage. Like all their friends and everything just thought they had like the perfect marriage. And she's like, he doesn't talk to me ever. Like we have no communication.
Yeah. And
so it was just like, it was just such a great story. I loved it so much.
The next one I read was The Billionaire by Marnie Mann. I gave this one 2 stars. This one was the second one in the series. But they're like companion novels, so I skipped the first one. I heard about this one on TikTok and thought that it sounded like something I would like. I have a thing for like an age gap romance, and this is definitely an age gap. But so this one's about Jenner and the girl that he's with in this video, in this book. I don't remember her name. I really had
Jenner and that girl.
My biggest complaint with this one is that it's a whole lot of smut and not much else. They meet and like within the first chapter they're having sex, which
Spicy.
is what it is, but there was so much of like him being like, I can't stay away from her, and I was like, why? Like, you don't even know her, all you do is have sex. Like, I don't. But then like, and then suddenly he's like in love with her. Like, it was too much. But I gave it that 2nd star because for a second there it had some plot. Turns out, I don't think this is necessarily like a twist, like it's a romance book. She knew who he was, but he didn't know who she was. He is actually a lawyer for like a business lawyer, and he's running some like big deals for her dad's company, and so it could be like really bad for him if he found out that he was like sleeping with his daughter. And she knew that and didn't tell him, and so there was like a little bit of like conflict and like plot there for like 2 seconds.
Wow.
But that was
shame.
Yeah, other than that, it was just a lot of like,
that's some dirt.
You know, they were having sex.
I would have liked more on that. That's some dirt.
That's what I'm saying. It had plot for like a second. I wish they would have like, it was just all resolved too quickly, and I'm like, why do y'all even like each other? I've never even seen you guys have any conversations. So that's my biggest complaint with that book, is that the plot could have been decent, but there was not enough of it. It's just a whole lot of smut. So I probably won't be continuing with the series. Safe to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah. Next one I read was A Deal with the Devil by Elizabeth O'Rourke.
Oh yeah, I'm interested to see how.
I like this one a lot.
Okay.
I give it 4 stars, which if you know me, that's really high rating. This one is a nice little forced proximity.
Ooh,
I love forced proximity. So this one's about, what the fuck is her name? Tally, that's her name. I'm the worst with names. So this is about Tally, whose really good friend is an assistant for a plastic surgeon named Hayes Flynn. And him and
Hayes Flynn. Why does that sound so familiar? Anyway,
I feel like it's kind of basic name for like a romance book. But her best friend and his partner decide to adopt a baby, and so they go to, I don't remember what country it is, but they're going to this country to like basically pick up their baby that they've adopted and like bond with her before they bring her home. So he asked her, because she's in between jobs, to like cover him, to be Hayes' assistant for a few weeks while he's gone and out of town.
Okay.
Now Hayes, like I said, is a plastic surgeon. He's very successful, very rich, but very like broody and like moody, you know what I mean? Very much like a grumpy sunshine sort of thing. Except for she like does not let him walk all over her, and that's why I love their banter so much.
Okay.
They have great banter. And it's very much like the forced proximity, but not, because I feel like sometimes the grumpy sunshine can be a little bit too much. Like he's just mean and she just lets him be. That's very much not the thing here. He's just like grumpy and very standoffish, and she's like, fuck you, you're gonna talk to me. Like, I loved it. I loved their banter.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds good.
It was really good.
I need to check that one out. So the next one that I read was Little Mercies by Heather Gudenkoff. I read like the little prequel to this, which was Little Lies, I think in February. Little Mercies was very, very good. It's about a social worker who gets involved in so many different cases, and she works with like this one detective really closely. But then when her life is very, very busy, obviously with being a social worker, you know how many cases they have, like their caseload is horrendous. She's working on a very difficult case, and she gets like a call one morning, and she's rushing through the house. She's late, and she has 2 kids, and well, she's 3, but there's 2 older ones and a young child, an infant. And her husband tells her, like, while he's in the shower, that to remember he's taken the 2 boys to practice this morning, so she's got to drop off the youngest to daycare. And she's like, yeah, okay, you know, she's rushing around, and she gets a call on her like way out of the house from one of the kids from her cases, and like she's in trouble, like she's in like trouble, like emergency, like she's got to get over to this house, like one of these children's lives is in danger. And well, she's working with like the cops at this house and trying to get this child out of this life-threatening situation. And meanwhile, while she's trying to work with these cops and get these children out, these people start like breaking into her van, and she's like, can't believe this, it's broad daylight, these people are breaking into her van with all these people around, like even police officers. Like her car is not even parked that far away. Like, she can't believe this. Her daughter was in the car, and she had no idea. Like, she had no idea because her husband put her daughter in the car for her while she was trying to rush out of the car, or like out of the house to go and leave, because she had to take her daughter to daycare, and she wasn't really paying attention to what her husband was saying that morning. So her daughter had been sitting in like a 95-degree car for like 45 minutes while she was trying to take care of this case.
A social worker.
A social worker.
Wow.
So then the book takes off from there, because then she turns from being a social worker to being investigated.
Yeah.
While her daughter fights for her life in the hospital.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It was a really insane book. It was very intense. And that, I mean, what I just gave you was like the first like 2 chapters.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really intense.
Wow.
It was really crazy. And it was like an honest
People don't realize how easy that is to do.
It was an honest miscommunication. They were both like very distracted and very running around. Like, she was coming out of the house and he was running into the house. She was on the phone with the little girl, and he said something to her in passing, and he said, I buckled her in already. And she was like, yeah, whatever, you know, like, yeah, thank you, you know. And it didn't register in either one of them that neither one of them were really paying attention to the other.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was insane. It was insane. I'm getting chills just thinking about it.
That's interesting. I want to read that one.
Yeah, it was really, really good.
Totally different vibe. The next one that I read was Twisted Games, which is the second one in the Twisted series by Anna Huang.
What'd you think?
I did not like this one.
Oh no!
But let me explain why. I get why people do like it. I just think that the trope wasn't for me. This one is about, like, it's like a royal and her bodyguard.
I knew it was going to be about them.
Yeah. It's about Bridget, and I had high hopes because his name is Reese.
Because I
had high hopes.
I just finished Twisted Love this past
Did you
week.
like it?
It did.
Yeah.
It did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked Twisted Love. This one I liked a lot less. However, I will be continuing with the series because it's not, like, I just don't think this trope worked for me. That's just it. It was just, like, not my thing.
That's fair.
But I don't know. It was fine. I gave it 2 stars. Like, I am continuing with the series, but like this was very much not my favorite.
Okay.
I think I'll like the third one better. That one's about Josh and Jules.
Jules, yeah. I read the back of it today.
Yeah, so I will be reading that one.
But I will be reading this second one too. Just because I will be.
Yeah, you might like it more than me. I just don't think the trope worked for me. The next one I read was Things We Hide from the Light by Lucy Score. I unfortunately didn't like this one either.
No!
I know.
Damn!
This had potential. I really liked Nash in the first book, so I really thought I would like his book. This just didn't work for me. I think the biggest reason was because of Lena. I didn't like Lena. I wanted to. She is like this badass woman, and she like works in like, I don't remember exactly what her job title is, but she gets back like stolen property basically, and she's like working on this case that has something to do with, I don't want to spoil the first one for you in case you're gonna read it.
I'm gonna read it.
Okay. Something happens to Nash at the end of the first book.
I know what happens to Nash.
He gets shot.
Yeah.
Okay. So she's like investigating something stolen by the person who shot Nash, but like, and he keeps asking her like, "Are you here working on the case?" And she's like, "No." But like, she could have just told him that she was, and like, it could have saved. I don't love that miscommunication trope.
I hate a miscommunication trope.
Especially like when it's like not necessarily miscommunication, it's like blatantly somebody lying for like no good reason. And I didn't love that, and I just feel like, I don't know, their relationship wasn't super believable to me. Just wasn't my fave, which sucks.
We did just get another Lucy Score in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She do be writing these books.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I give this one 2 stars.
She has a huge backlist. Did you know that?
You should, yeah. I have another one that I need to read by her.
That.
I will be reading the third one though. Here's why. It's about Lucian. And I like Lucian a lot. So I will be reading the third one.
Oh, okay.
I'm a sucker for a man named Lucian.
Yeah. Aren't you?
Yeah.
Me again. Yeah. Okay. Oh, the next one that I read was What Lies in the Woods by Kate Alice Marshall. Oh my goodness, did I love this. This was a very creepy psychological thriller. Ooh, 5 stars all across the board. It was about like these, let me try to articulate this correctly. This was about these girls who had God, there's so many layers to this. Basically, it's about some girls who were in the woods, okay, and they were just like playing in the summer, and they were attacked. Well, one of them was.
By a person or an animal?
Yeah, by a person. Okay. And this person went to prison. He was caught, and he was identified, and he was identified for that attack and for a string of murders. Okay. And this happened in the past. We're coming into the story when these girls are now adults.
Okay.
And we come into it finding out that this man who went to prison and served his time has just died.
Okay.
And the girl who was attacked and positively ID'd him, her testimony was the one that sent him away, because the other 2 ID'd him but were not attacked. And I can't remember exactly what the legal reasoning was, but it was her testimony that,
because she was actually the one that was attacked,
that ID'd him and like absolutely sent him away. She gets a letter in the mail from the killer's son that says like, "My dad did not attack you, blah blah blah," like, and it goes on, like, the story goes on, and you find out that her memories are all jumbled, and she's not entirely sure what she saw that day. She was attacked, obviously. I mean, she's scarred, and she's got really... She is not sure whether she saw him.
When you say scarred, like emotionally or physically?
No, physically.
Okay.
Physically. She's not sure whether she actually saw him or whether she was coached to identify him.
Mm-hmm.
She lied. She doesn't know.
Damn. But the other two girls identified him too, right?
They did.
Okay.
They did. So this completely starts to unravel, and there's somebody who's doing a podcast on him, and they start to try to, these two, the girl who lied and the podcaster, start to try to track down, because there's like no doubt in anyone else's, in anyone's mind that this man has murdered all these other women. But it's just this case that doesn't make sense.
So he was a bad guy.
He was a bad guy.
Okay.
He murdered all these other women.
So it's not like an innocent man went to prison.
No.
Okay.
No, it's not that kind of case.
Okay.
But this case specifically just doesn't fit.
Because then whoever did it is still out there.
It's still out there.
Damn.
So that's what they
Is
start
she
to
like
try to
being
track.
stalked?
Yeah, some weird shit starts to happen, yeah.
Kind of gives me the same vibes as that Chevy Stevens book. She's like getting stalked. And it can't be the one guy she thinks it is.
Exactly.
I love stuff like that. I have to read that one.
You have to read that one.
What Lies in the Woods. Okay, I have to read that one.
It's very, very good.
Yeah.
And I did not see any of it.
I love a book like that.
Okay, wait, I figured out like one of the things.
It's inevitable when
But
you read
I
enough
mean,
of
you
these
know,
books.
like,
yeah.
it wasn't until like the very end when I started piecing all
Yeah.
this stuff together, you know, like.
So the next ones I want to talk about are the Love Me with Lies series. We met Taryn Fisher last month. It was such a good experience.
We did. It was
We have pictures up on our
amazing.
Instagram if you want to go check them out. But that, I was like, you know what? You're right. I should reread The Opportunist. Nobody said that, but
I said that.
love The Opportunist is one of my all-time favorite books. And I always tell people when I'm talking about it, like, it is not, I don't even want to call it a romance. It's not a happy book.
It's not.
The whole trilogy, it's not a happy trilogy. It's about some very fucked up people who all like love each other in different ways and their story. That's what it is.
It makes me happy though.
I don't love, it doesn't though. It doesn't make me happy.
Oh, it makes me happy.
I feel like I finish it and I'm like depressed afterwards, but I still love it.
Okay, but so I reread The Opportunist as well.
Yeah.
And I finished The Opportunist and it made me happy, and I don't know how to describe it because it just makes me feel so seen.
Yes, I agree, but it almost like it makes me feel too seen, where I feel like a little like emotionally raw after I read it.
I understand that.
Yeah.
I understand that. It just I don't know. It makes me feel happy because I just feel like it's not the same thing that I'm reading all the time.
Yes.
And
I've never read anything like it, and you probably never will read anything like it.
Yeah, it makes me feel seen, and it's just realistic, and it's human flaws.
Yeah.
And it's the actual like daily feelings we have, and like.
But it's like these people can't like. I feel like when I remember reading it, I remember thinking like, oh, Olivia's supposed to be the villain and Caleb's supposed to be the good guy. Caleb's toxic as hell. And I just feel like no matter what, like Olivia won't let herself be happy, my poor baby. And I don't want to like spoil anything, but like any sort of happy ending these characters ever get are like, it's at the expense of so many people. And it's hard to read about, but I love it for that reason, if that makes sense. So like these are not critiques. This is just like I'm trying to explain it. This is like a very emotional book, and this trilogy, like don't pick it up because you're a romance reader, because it's not going to be what you're looking for. This is very much it's a love story, but it's not a romance. That's like how I like to describe it, because it's about people who love each other, but it's not like light and fluffy at all.
It's an epic love story.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Dirty Red. My God. I've never been in the mind of like a person like Leah before.
Whew.
Yeah. Wild.
That's some wild shit. That's some wild shit.
I know. Ugh. Because like Caleb loves Olivia and Olivia loves Caleb, but Leah loves Caleb, and
Leah's a psychopath.
She is a psychopath, and you know, Olivia.
And we're not talking
Noah,
like Joe Goldberg.
No.
We're talking about like.
Can't bond with her kid because she has so many issues.
I don't even know how to describe her. She's just damaged goods, honestly.
Yeah. And like in a very different way than Olivia is, because Olivia is not an evil person at her core.
But, like, there's things that happen to Leah, too, that, like,
yeah, for
fucked
sure.
her up.
For sure there is. There's things that happen to Olivia, and she's still not an evil person at her core.
Oh, I know.
She does some fucked up things. She does some very selfish, fucked up things. And so does Caleb. But, like, at their core, they're not evil people. Like, I think Leah's just an evil person.
Yeah, it's like she stepped too far to come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, like, these are all 5-star books for me. The Opportunist is one of my all-time favorite books. I just always feel emotionally raw after I read them.
That's fair. It's absolutely fair.
Yeah. So the next one I read was Tattered by Devney Perry. This one really worked for me. Liked it a lot. This one is a secret baby trope, which I love, but I understand that not everybody does. I think even if you don't love a secret baby trope, you're gonna like this one because it's not like a malicious secret baby, and it's not somebody who like purposefully lies. It's like they have like this, they meet, she's a bartender and he shows up to the bar that she works at. They have like this great chemistry. They have a one-night stand, and then they don't exchange numbers. She doesn't know his last name. She winds up pregnant. She has a really kind of sad backstory. She doesn't have a ton of family or like friends, but she does have like a really close friend that is kind of like family who lives in a different state. So when she finds out that she's pregnant, she continues to work at this bar for a few months, kind of hoping he'll come back so that she can tell him that she's pregnant. And by the time she's like, I think she's like 6 or 7 months along, he hasn't come back. So she's like, okay, I need to move to this state where I have this family friend because I need help. I'm a single mom now. So she moves. Right after she moves, he goes back to the bar to try to like reconnect with her because he hasn't been able to stop thinking about her. But of course now she has moved back. They don't know each other's last name. So that's kind of that. And then years later, he runs like this nonprofit, and he's in this town that she then moved to, and they run into each other. And she immediately like, I don't want to say she immediately tells him, but like she's shocked to see him.
I'm so upset right now.
I know. She's shocked to see him, and then as she's like processing that she's seeing him, their kid runs up, and he's like, wait a damn second. Like, the timelines are timelining, and she kind of looks like me. So, and that's the story from there. I really liked it. Why do you look so angry?
Because that just hurts so much.
It hurts so
I'm
bad.
so devastated.
And that's why
right
I liked
now.
it so much, is because he's like, oh my god, I missed out on so much time with her. Like, he instantly jumps into like the father figure, and she's very open to like letting him, and so they have a great like, you know, communication that way. Nobody
Hey, by the
was,
way,
like,
what's your last name?
right. Nobody was
Oh
like
my
malicious.
God.
It's not like she purposely kept it from him. It's not like he didn't want to be involved. Like, it was just sort of like that. It was just that sort of thing. But it was really sweet, and I really liked it, and I really liked their daughter. Their daughter was really special. So yeah, I give this one 4.5 stars. I really liked it.
This is why I don't have one night stands, yo.
Because you never know.
Because that's shit's too much.
Yeah.
That's just too much.
I really liked it. You need to read it.
I do need to read it.
Yeah. It was so cute.
Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
The next one I read was Hit List. Number 20 in the Anita Blake series.
You said number 20.
Number 20.
Yeah.
It's very good. It's very, very good. Honestly, I read it towards the beginning of the month. So,
You're not really remembering much?
No.
That's okay. They're probably all like morphing together at this
yeah,
point.
because I already like read Kiss the Dead, and I don't
Mhm.
remember what happened.
It's okay.
So
It was
it
number
was
20.
good. It was good. It was number 20. It
Yeah.
was good. I'm
Right.
still going.
Yeah. So is she.
Yeah, she released number 30.
These books will be coming out until she dies.
Well, 29. Yes, that
Okay.
was okay. So that was the Anita Blake one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
She read it. It was number 20.
Mm-hmm.
Next one I read was Air of Fire by Sarah J. Maas. She's been reading the series, and I told her I was going to join her when she got to Air of Fire. A little bit of a funny story. We, on this road trip, that we went to meet Taryn Fisher,
Not funny at all.
I was like, you know what would be a good idea is if we listened to the audiobook on the drive, and we totally forgot about it on the way there, and then we were just like listening to Taylor Swift and like talking, and it just got, the drive honestly just got away from us at that point. But on the drive back, I was like, okay, let's listen to this audiobook. And she was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's for sure. So we start playing it. She instantly falls asleep. Like, so, I mean, like, this is like a 5-hour drive almost. She slept pretty much the entire time, except for when we stopped to get food like an hour from our house.
Yeah.
So, I listened to the audiobook. She didn't. She had to start from the beginning.
I did.
Because yeah. So she's still
Took it.
finishing it currently because she had to start completely from the beginning. Meanwhile, I had like 4 hours of the audiobook listened to, and I listened to it on like 2 times speed usually. So anyway, this book is so much goddamn fun. It's so much fun. This has always been my favorite in the series. Granted, I haven't read Kingdom of Ash, and it stays up there. This is such a good book to me.
It's so good.
I feel like this is like, the first 2 are almost a different series to me than the rest of the series is. And so like Heir of Fire is the first book to the rest of the series in my mind. If that makes sense.
No, it's
Like
fair.
this
because
like starts, this is where, spoiler alert, but sorry, these books have been out forever, I don't care. Those 2 books were Selena and this is Aelin. This is
I was just
Aelin
gonna
and
say
her
you
story.
get a different main character
Yeah.
basically, because that's exactly it.
And somebody who becomes such a big player in the rest of the books, Rowan, is introduced. And so much of, like, this is more in the Fae world versus, like, Selena as, like, a human, as an assassin.
And it's not just Rowan who becomes such a big player. There's so many. There's actually
Lorcan
Adian
and yeah.
Manon, and
I love Manon.
there's so many other.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
Yeah,
my girl,
I know.
my queen. Oh, I love her so much.
Manon.
Mm-hmm.
In my mind, she's Manon, but that's fine.
I know. It's gonna take me forever to
Yeah.
get used to that.
Yeah.
I'll never get used to it.
But I did love this book because Selena was such a little shit, and she always is. And I say that like endearingly. I do love her, but she's such a little shit. And finally, like, Rowan is putting her in her place.
Yeah. Yeah.
I loved it. And she like really has to come into her own. She like relies on so much as a crutch that she doesn't get to rely on anymore.
Exactly.
It was so good. It's 5 stars for me. I loved it. Next one I read was Riches to Riches by Ames Mills. This book is once again a TikTok recommendation, and it's really my fault because I always like to read reviews, and this is the one time that I didn't. I heard about this book on TikTok, and they said it was like a female mafia leader, and I don't typically read mafia romances. They're not like usually my cup of tea, but like a female mafia leader, I was like, oh, maybe I'd be into that. I didn't realize this was porn. This is porn.
Whoa.
This book was just like a whole lot of smut, which, I'm not saying like the smut wasn't bad, like the smut was fine. Some of it was like not necessarily my cup of tea. It's one girl and like, I think like 7 guys, except they're not all sleeping together at the same time always. There is like one scene that I remember where they were all together, but then like she has like these threesomes or foursomes, and then she'll also just be with one of the guys, and then some of the guys go off. And I don't mind like a male scene, but it was my biggest problem with it was that only one of them was like out as bisexual before, or like even bisexual. The other guys that were like sleeping with the guys are straight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Except they're just like sleeping with that. They're like, I'm straight except for you. And that's just not how gay people work. Like, that's just not how sexuality works in my mind. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't want to, like, you know, invalidate somebody else's experience and their sexuality. But, like, I just feel like this is giving, like, a straight person writing about gay people having sex. And they're not gay.
Right.
And so, like, it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way a little bit. And there was just, like, it was just so random. Like, we would go from them, like, all 7 of them, like, sleeping together to, like, them, we're going to, like, fight the Russian mafia. And then there would be, like, another sex scene. And I just didn't know how to take this book. I found myself just, like, scrolling, because I read it on my Kindle app. I was just, like, I would just keep flipping because I was like, I can't read about this sex anymore. Like, is there nothing else that's going to go on? It was all very strange. I won't be continuing the series. I'm not saying that like if this is your type of thing, then like that's what it is. So I'd recommend it if that's what you're looking for. It wasn't what I was looking for, and it's not something I'll be picking up again. I just didn't know how to take it. There was a lot happening. So like I read this book, I skipped probably like a quarter of it because I was like, they're having sex again. Skip. And I'm not a prude. Like I don't mind a sex scene.
Right.
But like 17.
Jesus Christ.
It was a lot.
I'm tired with just one dude.
And there's only so many holes. You know, what are you doing with all these men?
I don't know. I'm tired with one.
Yeah. And then like one of them got shot and then they had sex.
See, now that's where I draw.
Well,
See,
he
you
was
cannot
like
be
healing.
doing that.
I mean, it wasn't like right after. Like he was, but like he was still healing.
No.
He should have been in a hospital, but he was laying on like her kitchen table.
No.
And then they had, I was just like, I'm so thrown off.
No.
So that was that book. That was a miss for me. That was a 1 star.
The next book that I read was Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover.
Cool. I'll just talk about this one too because I read it too.
So we're going down the road of rereading Colleen Hoover's books to see if our views have changed. I really honestly don't want to talk too much about this.
So we're doing a whole video.
Because we're going to do a whole video.
We're starting with what were our favorites. So Ugly Love was her favorite. So that's why we started with that one.
And then we're going to be doing Maybe Someday next.
I'll just talk about that one right now too because I also did read Maybe Someday.
Okay, you did?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I still really, really loved Ugly Love.
I actually liked Ugly Love more than I remember liking it.
Yeah.
It's not nearly as like toxic as I remember it being because he was always very honest with her.
Yeah.
Now, Homeboy did blur some lines. I'll give her that. But he never said that he could give her a relationship. In fact, he always said he couldn't. And then he would continue to do things that like were relationshipy, but that's besides the point. He verbalized.
He did.
Yeah.
She was never fully. She always had some other idea in her mind.
Yeah.
She did.
So, you know.
I love my girl Tate, but she definitely did.
Yeah, and he had a fucked up past.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He really did.
And Maybe Someday holds up.
Yeah.
It was still so good.
Okay. All right.
Ridge, my toxic king.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, he do be cheating.
Yeah, he do. Yeah.
He do be.
Like that. I really don't
And
like that.
he do feel entitled to, not entitled, but indebted, is that the right word? Where like he feels like he has to stay with, you know,
He doesn't.
this girl, but he doesn't. But he does love her, but like in a different way. He wants to like save her, you know.
Yeah.
Wants to give her a good life. Yeah.
She does have one after.
Yeah.
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 It holds up though. It's great. I love Warren. That's his name, right? The friend.
Warren. I love Warren.
Yeah.
Was he the one with Bridget?
Yeah, and I don't love their book. So I won't be continuing on to that one.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
It's a little novella.
Yeah. I just don't love her, you know?
Bridget's not the best.
No. She's just bitchy.
I don't really remember very much about it.
Me neither. But I have no desire to reread it.
But I did like, what was her name? Maggie?
yeah.
I did like her book.
Weirdly, I don't have a desire to read that one either. I read that one, and I don't remember much about it.
I did like it.
I feel like I remember not liking it, you know what I mean?
I didn't think I was going to like it, but I did like it. I remember being surprised how much I liked it.
Because I feel like I was a little bit pissed at Ridge this read around, and I was also very pissed at her because like they both were like not together for the right reasons, and
They were not together for the right reasons at all.
But they were like forcing themselves to stay together. Anyway, that's besides the point. It still does hold up. It's still great. I'll be interested to see after our reread though if it's still my number one. I think it will be. I do love it.
I'm interested as well.
I think that's why I like it, is because it's like, you know, very imperfect people. It just shows that like not every relationship is like, you know, black and white.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
The other one, my very last one of the month, was Stone Blind by Natalie Hayes. I absolutely loved this.
Yeah, I want to read it.
I absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful retelling. Medusa. My girl Medusa.
Mm-hmm.
It gave like such
Medusa.
a wonderful backstory and like a wonderful retelling of, you know, it had all of the Greek gods and goddesses in there, but I felt like this one was definitely like a feminine journey. And it wasn't just Medusa, which I really, you know, I don't want to say I enjoyed, because I definitely could use more Medusa.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it was well-rounded, and it told the entire tale, so that you could see everything.
And not just Medusa was unhinged and...
Exactly. And God, I just...
turned men to stone. Don't look her in the eye. Yeah. Which honestly, pop off. Justified.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
Disgusting creatures. Turn them all to stone.
Mm-hmm. Pop off.
Except Tom Hiddleston.
She said except Tom Hiddleston.
I'll leave him.
Yeah. Next one I'm going to talk about is Hail Mary by Candy Steiner. This unfortunately does end the Red Zone Rivals series. I have read 2 out of 4 of this series. I do skip around a little bit. I probably won't go back and read the first one, but I do want to go back and reread number 3. I don't typically love a sports romance, but Candy Steiner will get me to read pretty much anything. I really liked this one. I liked this one, I think... I don't know if I want to say I liked it less than Blindside. Maybe I liked it about... They were about the same, but they're like companion novels. So they're about these guys that are on the same football team, college football team, and kind of like their stories. This one was about Leo and... Why can I never remember anybody's name? It's such a toxic trait.
You're remembering more of the guys today.
Because they're always the first thing. Like, I always see them in the description. You know what I mean? Like, they're always right there, but like, where's her name? It's nowhere. Why do they always have the men's names?
Because it's always told from the woman's
From
point
the
of
woman's point of
view.
view. I know. She's not going to say her own name. So then I have to like read Mary. I loved Mary. Mary.
Hail Mary?
Yeah.
Her name's Mary?
That's why it's called Hail Mary. Yeah. And plus it's a football thing, so like they tie that into it.
I just was like...
It's called Hail Mary.
Hannah, seriously.
I know, I forgot. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
anyways.
I should know better because it's literally called Hail Mary.
Anyway.
She is so cool. I like her a lot. She's a tattoo artist. In the beginning of the book, she's an apprentice, but she becomes a tattoo artist.
Girl,
and she's living
college
in this
events.
house off campus with one of the girls from the previous book as her roommate, and then, you know, she moves out because she just moves to a different house. I don't want to spoil anything, but and then something happens to the house and she has to move out. There's like mold basically because of like some sort of issue. And across the street is the frat house that some of the other boys live in from the football team. And there's an empty room because one of the guys left. So they're like, hey, do you want to live in this empty room while they're working on your house across the street? And she initially says no, but then she's like, I'm kind of desperate. I'm just a tattoo artist apprentice. I'm not making any money. Like, I can't afford to live on my own. I can't afford to get a new house. So yeah. So she ends up being their roommate. So it's another like forced proximity thing. I love a forced proximity romance. As long as it's believable, which this one is believable. Like, she's friends with these guys. They have an empty room. There's something wrong with her house. They offer her to move in and she takes them up on it. Like, it's very believable. And of course there, you know, things ensue. But I think my favorite part about it is that her and Leo have a past. This is almost sort of a second chance. So back in high school, they were playing online video games together. They just knew each other's gamer tags. They didn't know each other's name until he told her his name. And he was like the popular kid in high school. And she was, you know, nerdy and chubby and not popular. And so he had no idea who she was. So she never actually told him her name. But she went up to him at school one day with a drawing that she had made for them because she's artistic. And he basically like rejected her in front of the entire school. And then the rest of high school was like living hell for her because of it. So she holds a lot of animosity towards him because of that. But of course he doesn't know why she doesn't like him because he never learned her real name. He just knew her gamer tag. And he's still upset about like this, you know, great friend and like love that he remembers having, this like online gamer friend without realizing that it's her. And he's like, why did she just disappear? Like, he doesn't put two and two together. So he doesn't like remember what he did. But she's still angry about it. And so like that's like the big, I have to have a romance book with conflict, and that's like the big conflict, and it ended up really working for me. I liked it a lot. But it was 4 stars. It was good.
I'm mad at him already.
I know, I was mad at him too. But then he like made me forgive him.
He's got to work for it still.
He did work for it.
Okay, good. I'm glad.
The last one I'm going to talk about is What Was Meant to Be by QB Tyler. This one is taboo. It's not going to work for everybody, and I understand why it doesn't work for some people. But this one follows Whitney and her love interest, Jacob. This is sort of a second chance as well. Jacob is her parents' best friend / her godfather. Listen, I know it's taboo. I get it. And it's not going to be for everybody. Me and my daddy issues, loved it. Basically, Whitney and Jacob have what's supposed to be a fling, but ends up being a little bit more than that when she's 18. And then he starts to feel like he's like lying to his friends, and starts to feel guilty about it. And so he ends up taking a job during the COVID-19 pandemic in Mexico, and he moves and he breaks things off with her.
Bye-bye.
And then this is 2023. She is engaged to somebody else, and he finds out, and he basically is like, no, and he moves back. Now, it sounds toxic, and it is, but to be fair, she's not very happy with this man that she's engaged to. She has like a very weird sense of self-respect, and she puts up with a lot from this guy that she's engaged to. A lot that he's like, why would you put up with that? Because I never treated you like that. But, and then they, things ensue when he comes back. I get that it's not for everybody.
Yeah, with peace and love, you can enjoy what you would like. That is going to be a big no from me.
I get it, because she has another one. She tends to write these like taboo romances. And I'll never shit on what anybody likes. But she has one about a girl and her stepdad, and I won't touch that with a 10-foot pole.
Nope. With peace and love, I don't think...
Step-parents, I will not touch that. But to each their own. But that's uncomfy to me. That makes me want to vomit in my mouth a little bit. But I don't have a godfather. So, like, this didn't... and I love an age gap, and I have daddy issues. So this one worked for me. I did give this one 4 stars.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're like, I'm not going to judge you, but fine. Yeah.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll touch that author at all.
That's okay. It's not for everybody. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean...
If you also have daddy issues, read this one.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay. All right.
You weren't ready for that, were you?
No.
Yeah.
Wasn't prepared.
Yeah.
But anyways, on that note, that's what we read in March, right? That was March, right?
It was March.
Okay.
We are in April currently.
We are in April.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
I just threw her off. Sorry.
I have no idea what's going on anymore. I don't know what month it is, what day it is. It's like the fucking apocalypse today, apparently.
Literally.
That's what we read in March. Comment down below. Let us know what you think. Hit that like button and subscribe. And make sure you turn on that notification bell so you know when we post next. Bye.